often share weird things about myself because I feel like other people might also have weird things about themselves that they feel weird about. So if I'm weird and I admit to being weird, then maybe you won't feel as weird. I don't know, that's kind of what I go for on my channel. Something that my friends and family love to tease me about, the fact that I've been to 11 different schools. This video is going to explain a little more about why I moved to so many different schools and what it was like to go to so many different schools and to be the new girl over and over again. So let's start with Milton of Beaucanon. This is the first school I ever went to, and if any of you went to that school, let me know in a comment below. There's going to be another 10 schools which you may have also gone to, so just keep listening. So Milton of Beaucanon, I was 4 years old, which I think is really, really young to be going to school. I didn't always understand what was going on in the class, probably because I was 4, but also because my teacher had this really big wart right here and I couldn't stop staring at it. Anyway, 3 months later, my mom tells us that we're moving to South Africa. And so on my last day, the teacher hands over a present. Now I'm 4. So of course I want to open it right there and then. Turns out to be a book, which, you know, is always a little bit of a disappointment. It wasn't a Peter Rabbit book or anything like that. It was actually a book of African languages. I cried, which was a given, and my mom got really embarrassed and pulled me out of the classroom, and that was the end of Milton of Beaucanon. Cut to South Africa. I'm about 5 years old now. I'm in grade 1. And I'm going to a school called Clifton. The first day there was a little bit of a wobble because when lunchtime came along, everybody started unpacking their lunch boxes and I had nothing because my mom assumed that schools everywhere in the world just gave food to the children at lunch. But luckily there was a guy called Simon, and I remember his name because he was such an angel to give me half a sandwich. Anyway, I think I really enjoyed Clifton, and I don't think there was any real reason for me to leave apart from the fact that my mom decided that we needed to move to the city. So off I trotted to get a new school uniform in a school called Crawford. Now Crawford had a lot of Jewish students in it. I remember that there was the option to learn Hebrew. I thought it was awesome, and I love the fact that you got to eat bread on a Friday and have sweets, and I was just like, this is awesome, I want to be Jewish. But then one Friday my mom fetched me from school. I was still actually sucking a sweet from Shabbat, I remember that. And she said, you're off to an entrance exam for a school called Durban Girls College. It's much more prestigious than this school, and I feel you'll get a better education. I got excited because my mom made me excited somehow. There I was, writing an entrance exam for this very posh school. And I got in. I'm pretty sure to this day that my mom probably offered them a bribe. So my next school uniform was a very green dress and a white hat and buckled shoes. And I was really excited to start on my first day. And I remember I met a girl called Sophie, whom I'm still friends with now. So I'm so glad I went to this school. Things started off a little bit difficult, I must admit. This school was a whole lot more difficult than the school I was at before, and I think once everybody found out about that, somebody cornered my mom, one of the teachers, and she said, I think your daughter needs to be put on Ritalin. Go and check it out, go to a doctor. So my mom was like, oh my god, my daughter has ADD, this is terrible, I'm gonna have to sort it out, and sent me to a doctor where it was confirmed I had ADD and I needed to be on Ritalin. I remember school being very different after that. I found myself sitting at the front of the class, always trying to be attentive, with my finger over my mouth, you know, in the shh position. Everyone hated me because I was just such a goody two-shoes. I lost friends, I cried when I came home, it just wasn't great. So my mom asked me if I wanted to go off Ritalin, and I said, yes, please, take me off this thing. But unfortunately, the teachers didn't agree, and they said, I don't think she's going to keep up with our girls here at Durban Girls College. You should maybe consider moving her. So I moved. The next school I went to was a Waldorf school. Now, Waldorf schools are very different to mainstream education. They have their benefits, and we can go into that in another video perhaps, but I found it very different to what I was used to at Durban Girls College. For example, on the first day I found myself sitting outside the classroom because there was no need to be inside. We were making a mud hut. That was our school day, building mud huts. Which, you know, is fun and everything, but I think my mom was a bit concerned about the fact that I wasn't actually learning and I was just sort of making mud huts and running around. I think my mom just worried a little bit about it, so I left after a week. And then my mom decided to send me to a school called Thomas More, which I kind of felt like was a bit of a combination between what I was at Waldorf and Durban Girls College. It was kind of a relaxed environment, yet it was also quite disciplined. And the best thing about Thomas More was that one of my best friends was in the grade below. But the problem was, I didn't get to see her that much because she was in a different grade to me. So one day I decided to ask my mom if I could go down a grade. When my mom suggested this to one of the teachers, they said it would be a bit strange for me to simply drop a grade for no reason. So me being the savvy school scenario person I was, I started pretending that I couldn't read. That was what I did for this friend. So anyway, I was moved down. Yay! When I look back at it now, I think it was actually a really good thing that happened because I just had a little extra time to think things over, me with my ADD. So I'm happy that that happened. Oh, I still get teased about it by Andrew. Now the reason why I moved from Thomas More was because it was really far away from my house. I would have to get up so early. And one day I just said, Mom, I've had it sitting on a bus. I don't want to spend my life on this bus. I want to go to a school that is closer to our house. And my mom said yes, because she said yes to me all the time, clearly. Just gonna consult my notes to see which school I went to after that. Oh yes, it was Crawford. So I went back to Crawford, but not the same Crawford that I was at before. It was a different Crawford in a different area, and I really liked it. I remember Crawford was a really good time for me, especially in the beginning part. Things were going good for a while, they really were. When I entered my preteen phase, I feel like I just started to lose the plot a little bit. I've got a whole video about it anyway, so you can go and look at that. But I basically left because of being bullied, which I don't know if it's the best thing. Like, maybe I should have just stayed and stuck it out. But anyway, my mom loved me very much and wanted me to be happy, of course. So she sent me to another school called Maristella. Now, Maristella was a bit similar to Durban Girls College. It was like an all-girls school and you had to wear a dress. This time it wasn't green, it was red. And you had to wear a black school hat, and I once forgot to wear my hat, and I'll never forget it. I had to go to detention, and that was absolutely beyond me. I was like, why do I have to sit here for an hour because I didn't wear my hat? But it was cool because I met my friend Jenna there, and Jenna is still my best friend today. She lives in Cape Town with me now, and yeah, I've just had a really great time developing that friendship with her there. And I became boy obsessed, and I made Jenna boy obsessed, and we had a really good time, and we became really close. And I just felt inseparable with her, and school was amazing because I got to be with her, basically. But then my mom dropped the bomb that we were going to be moving to Knysna, which is like very far away from Durban. So I had to break it to Jenna that I was leaving, and it was all very sad, and we headed off to Knysna, where another bunch of schools happened for me. So my mom, being my mom, obviously did her research and looked up a bunch of schools in Knysna and tried to find the best one for me, you know, one that would be really appropriate, one that would make me thrive, one that would just, you know, do it for me, finally. So she sent me to a Montessori school. Montessori, again, is a different kind of learning experience. It works for some people, doesn't work for others. And it was very experimental for me to go there, I believe, and it worked for a little bit again. I enjoyed some of it, but in the end it just didn't cut it for Theo. Montessori. I could do a whole video on Montessori. I was actually there for about a year, so, you know, lots of stuff happened. But in the end, I just wasn't performing. I was getting like 40% the stuff, which I don't know what you would call 40%, maybe F's or D's or whatever. It just wasn't working out. Because I went to all these very fancy schools in my life. I think my mom was like, I've got to move her, but I just can't face putting her in another expensive school. She decided that maybe I should try the government school, which is basically a state school. I think that's what you call it. I was really excited about this because I was like, yeah, I get to go to like a government school. I don't know, there was something cool about it for me, and it was going to be awesome because I was going to be hanging out and meeting all these different people from different cultures and different income groups. It wasn't just, you know, the privileged education system anymore. I was excited, but I didn't like it when I got there. Day one, I was bullied, and I remember I had like really bad braces at the time. I mean, braces are always bad, but these were particularly bad because my teeth were being moved around and I had gaps in weird places, and my confidence was really low, and I think people sniffed that out. And basically I was bullied and called names, and I just didn't understand what was going on because I was so behind from the Montessori. The way Montessori educated was like in a different speed, so I wasn't up to scratch with the maths. And the Afrikaans, oh my gosh, so Afrikaans is a language that is spoken by people in South Africa. I couldn't handle it. I was really bad, and I remember the teacher looking at me and just saying, I don't know how to help you. Like, this is bad. I told my mom that, and she was like, oh my gosh, we've got to take you out of that school. I mean, if they can't even help you and you're getting bullied, and no. It was a really bad idea. I don't know what I was thinking. So I left, and I wish maybe I'd stuck it out because I think it would have been a great learning experience. But anyway, didn't happen. Guess what? Another school. So here I am, age 14, going to the last school I'll ever go to. At every new school I've ever been to, being the new girl has been really hard, and it wasn't different when I went to Oakhill. I felt very outsidery. I felt scared. I felt like I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, I remember when my mum fetched me, I burst into tears because I've been to so many bloody schools, and the first day of Oakhill wasn't that great for me. My mum just looked at me and she was like, Theo, you've got to give this a longer try. You got to stick at this. And I'm glad she did that because I stuck it out. And I started doing really well in school. I had teachers who were willing to do extra lessons with me so that I could catch up. I met really good friends, and then I fell in love. And then later on in my high school career, I became the SRC vice president, which is like the student body or whatever. I was super chuffed with that. I found Oakhill to be a space for me where I could really truly be myself. The classes were small, the teachers were really, really hands-on, and I don't know, I feel almost a little bit emotional about Oakhill because it was a place that I stuck at, and it was a place that I absolutely loved. When I look back at my days at Oakhill, I just think of friendships and parties and water polo and running and hockey, which I was really bad at, but because there wasn't a lot of girls to go around, I was put into the A team, and that really felt good for me. I also think it really helped pave the way for my future career on YouTube, and Casper's future career on YouTube. Just by the way, Casper went to Oakhill, and he thrived at Oakhill, and they allowed him to go to school in his slippers. You've probably read this in the Casper Lee book, but it was a really good school. So anyway, let's just round this up with a little reflection. So yes, I've been to 11 different schools, and I believe every single move was meant to be in a way, and even though it caused a lot of stress and anxiety, as any change would, I believe everything happened the way it needed to happen. I think I learned different life lessons at these different schools, and I made friends with people who I'm still friends with today and who have really had a positive impact in my life. All in all, I think it was the way I was just meant to be educated. As a result, I'm really good at being the new person. I don't get scared anymore. I just go straight in, introduce myself, get on with things. I don't think you can really learn that unless you're put into those situations over and over again. So thanks, Mom. You were great. I don't think I'm going to do that to my kid, but it's fine. I forgive you. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this sort of story time, reflective video on my schooling life. And like I said, if you've been to any of those schools, or even if you've been to a Waldorf school or a Montessori school, let me know in a comment below and let me know how it worked for you. I think I will be seeing you next week. Is that the vibe? I think that's the vibe. Thanks so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, do those things that'll really help. As they say, bye!